The air was thick with the scent of roses and anticipation as I stood outside the grand venue, clutching my daughter Lily's small hand. At 6 years old, she was a bundle of curiosity, her wide brown eyes scanning the glittering chandeliers visible through the tall windows. Her sunflower yellow dress, carefully chosen to match the wedding's color scheme, swished as she bounced on her toes. I could feel her excitement, her tiny fingers squeezing mine. But my heart was heavy with a truth I hadn't yet shared with her. She wasn't allowed inside. My sister, Claire, had made that clear 2 weeks ago. No kids at the wedding. Emily, she'd said over the phone. Her voice clipped, like she was reciting a policy. It's a sophisticated event. You understand, right? Lily would just disrupt things. The words had stung, sharp and cold, like a blade slipping between ribs. Disrupt things. Lily was my world. A bright, giggling spark who loved Claire. Her Auntie C, with a fierceness only a child could muster. I'd argued, pleaded even, but Claire was immovable. It's my day, she'd snapped. My rules. I'd spent days wrestling with the decision, torn between supporting my sister and protecting my daughter's heart. Claire and I had always been close, despite our differences. She was the polished one, the one who planned every detail of her life with the precision of a surgeon. I was the messier one, the single mom who'd learned to embrace chaos after Lily's father walked out when she was 2. But this felt like a betrayal. Still, I'd agreed to come, leaving Lily with a babysitter, convincing myself it was just one day. I'd smile, toast, and move on. But standing there, watching Lily's face light up at the thought of seeing her aunt in a princess dress, I couldn't do it. I couldn't leave her behind. So, I'd brought her, hoping Claire would soften when she saw those big eyes. I was wrong. Emily, what is she doing here? Claire's voice sliced through the evening air as she stormed out of the venue, her white gown trailing like a comet's tail. Her face, usually so composed, was a mask of fury. Guests milling nearby turned to stare, their champagne flutes pausing mid-sip. She's my daughter, Claire, I said, keeping my voice steady. I couldn't leave her. You couldn't leave her. Claire's laugh was sharp, almost cruel. This is my wedding, Emily. My one perfect day, and you're ruining it with her. She gestured at Lily, who shrank behind my leg, her excitement replaced by confusion. She's not a disruption, I said, my voice rising despite my efforts to stay calm. She's family. Not today. She's not. Claire's eyes narrowed, and I saw something in them I hadn't before: resentment. Maybe. Or something deeper. Uglier. Get her out of here, or you're both out. The ultimatum hung between us, heavy and final. I looked down at Lily, her lip trembling, and felt something inside me snap. I'd spent years swallowing Claire's judgments, her subtle digs about my life, my choices. But this was too much. Fine, I said, my voice low but steady. We'll go, but don't expect me to forget this. Claire. As I led Lily back to the car, her small hand warm in mine, I felt the weight of what had just happened. Claire had drawn a line, and I'd crossed it, but not in the way she expected. I wasn't just leaving her wedding, I was stepping into a role I'd avoided for too long, the sister who wouldn't bow to her demands. Back home, Lily curled up on the couch, her dress crumpled, her eyes still searching mine for answers. Why didn't Auntie C want me there? Mommy, she asked, her voice small. I knelt beside her, brushing a curl from her face. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes. Sweetheart. Even aunties. I kissed her forehead. But inside, my anger simmered. Claire hadn't just banned my daughter. She'd dismissed her worth. And that was something I couldn't forgive. The next morning, my phone buzzed with a text from Claire. "You embarrassed me. Don't expect an apology." I stared at the words, my heart pounding. She thought this was about embarrassment. About her perfect day? No. This was about love, loyalty, and the kind of family that doesn't exclude a child for the sake of appearances. I didn't respond. Instead, I started really thinking about Claire, her fiancé Mark, and the secrets I'd kept for her over the years. Secrets she thought were buried. Secrets I'd held onto out of love. Or maybe fear. But as I looked at Lily, coloring quietly at the kitchen table, I realized something. Love doesn't mean silence. And loyalty doesn't mean enabling. Claire's wedding was only the beginning. She'd pushed me too far. And now, I was ready to push back. The days after the wedding were a blur of silence and resentment. Claire didn't call, and I didn't reach out. Lily, bless her, seemed to bounce back faster than I did. Her 6-year-old resilience turning her focus to school and her latest obsession with drawing unicorns. But I couldn't let it go. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Claire's face. Her words echoing, "Not today. She's not." Family, to her, was conditional. A prop to be arranged for her perfect Instagram-worthy life. I tried to move on, to focus on Lily and my job at the community center, where I taught art classes to kids. But the hurt festered, and with it came memories I'd buried, memories of Claire's secrets, the ones she'd begged me to keep. Like the time, 2 years ago, when I'd caught her with someone who wasn't Mark. It was a late night at her apartment, when I'd stopped by unannounced to drop off a book. The man, older, charming, not Mark, had been there. His tie loosened, her lipstick smudged. She'd sworn it was a mistake, a one-time thing. And I believed her because I wanted to, because she was my sister. But now, with the sting of her rejection fresh, I wondered, had it really been a one-time thing? Or was Claire's perfect life built on lies? I pushed the thought away, telling myself it was none of my business. Mark was a good guy, steady, kind. The kind of man who'd once spent an hour helping Lily build a Lego castle. He deserved to know the truth, didn't he? But what would that do to him? To them? To us? A week later, I got an invitation to Claire and Mark's post-wedding reception, a lavish party for friends and family who couldn't attend the ceremony. The card was cream-colored, embossed with gold, and it made my stomach churn. No mention of Lily. No apology. Just an expectation that I'd show up and play the doting sister. I almost tore it up, but something stopped me. Maybe it was the memory of Mark's smile, or the way Lily still asked about Uncle Mark. Maybe it was the part of me that wanted to see Claire's face when I walked in. I decided to go, but not alone. "Lily, sweetheart," I said, kneeling beside her as she colored. "How would you like to go to a fancy party with Mommy?" Her eyes lit up, and I felt a pang of guilt. I wasn't just bringing her to celebrate, I was bringing her to prove a point. The night of the reception, I dressed Lily in a new dress, navy blue with tiny silver stars, and put on my own armor, a sleek black dress that made me feel stronger than I was. The venue was a rooftop garden, strung with fairy lights, the city skyline glittering below. Guests mingled, their laughter floating over the clink of glasses. I spotted Claire immediately, radiant in a cream-colored jumpsuit, her arm looped through Mark's. She saw me, then Lily, and her smile faltered. "Emily," she said, approaching us, her voice tight. "I didn't expect both of you." "Lily's my plus one," I said, my tone light, but my eyes locked on hers. "She's family, after all." Claire's jaw tightened, but she didn't argue. Mark, oblivious to the tension, crouched down to Lily's level. "Hey, kiddo, you look like a superstar." Lily giggled, hugging him. and I saw Claire's eyes flicker with something guilt. Maybe. Or annoyance. The evening wore on, and I played my part. Smiling. Chatting. Keeping Lily close. But inside, I was a storm. Every time Claire laughed too loudly or touched Mark's arm, I remembered that night 2 years ago. I remembered her tears. Her promises. My silence. And I wondered, had she told Mark? Did he know the woman he'd married? As the night drew to a close, the MC announced open toasts. Guests stood, sharing stories of Claire and Mark's love, their voices warm with nostalgia. I felt Lily's hand in mine, her warmth grounding me, and something shifted. I couldn't keep silent anymore, not for Claire, not for anyone. I stood, my heart pounding, and took the microphone. The microphone felt heavy in my hand, its cool metal grounding me as the room fell silent. Faces turned toward me, a sea of curiosity and expectation. Claire's eyes widened, her smile frozen, as if she sensed what was coming. Mark stood beside her, his expression warm but unsuspecting. Lily, sitting at our table, looked up at me with those trusting eyes, and I almost faltered. But the weight of Claire's betrayal, her dismissal of my daughter, pushed me forward. Hi, everyone, I began, my voice steady despite the tremor in my chest. I'm Emily, Claire's sister. I want to start by saying how beautiful this evening is, and how happy we all are for Claire and Mark. Polite applause rippled through the crowd, but I could feel Claire's gaze burning into me. I took a breath. But I'm not here to talk about perfection. I'm here to talk about family. I glanced at Lily, her small face glowing under the fairy lights. My daughter, Lily, is 6 years old. She loves her Aunt Claire, and she was so excited to be part of her wedding. But Claire decided Lily wasn't welcome. She said a child would disrupt her perfect day. Murmurs spread through the room, heads turning toward Claire, who stood rigid, her hands clenched. I tried to understand. I continued, my voice gaining strength. I told myself it was just one day, that Claire deserved her moment. But standing here, I realized something. Family isn't about perfection. It's about love, even when it's messy. And excluding a child because she doesn't fit your vision, that's not love. The room was silent now, the air thick with tension. Mark's smile had faded, his eyes flicking between me and Claire. I could have stopped there, could have sat down and let the moment pass. But the memory of Claire's secrets, the ones I'd carried for her, surged to the surface. Claire, I said, turning to her, I've kept quiet for you for too long. 2 years ago, I saw something you begged me to forget. You were with someone else. Claire. Someone who wasn't Mark. Gasps echoed through the crowd, and Mark's face went pale. Claire's mouth opened, but no words came out. I believed you when you said it was a mistake. I kept your secret because I thought you'd changed. But now, seeing how you treated my daughter, I wonder if you're capable of that kind of love, the kind that puts others first. The microphone trembled in my hand as I turned to Mark. You deserve to know the truth. Mark, you deserve someone who values honesty, who values family. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I set the microphone down, my heart racing, and took Lily's hand. The room erupted in whispers, but I didn't look back. I led my daughter out of the venue, her small steps quick to keep up with mine. In the elevator, she looked up at me. Did I do something wrong? Mommy. No, sweetheart, I said, kneeling to hug her. You did everything right. I'm the one who needed to be brave. That night, as Lily slept, my phone buzzed relentlessly, texts from Claire, from mutual friends, from our parents. I ignored them all. I'd said what needed to be said, and for the first time in years, I felt free. But freedom came with a cost. and I knew the fallout was just beginning. The days that followed were a storm of consequences. Claire's texts were a mix of rage and desperation. How could you do this to me? You've ruined everything. You're not my sister anymore. Each message was a dagger. But I didn't respond. I'd spent years protecting her, smoothing over her mistakes. But no more. I'd chosen Lily. And I'd chosen the truth. Mark called the next day, his voice quiet. Broken. Is it true? Emily. He asked. What you said, was it true? I told him everything the night I'd seen Claire with another man. Her tears. Her promises. He listened in silence. And when he finally spoke, it was just one word. Thanks. The call ended. And I knew their marriage was unraveling. My parents were furious. You aired our family's dirty laundry in public, my mother said, her voice trembling over the phone. You humiliated Claire. I tried to explain about Lily, about Claire's cruelty, but they didn't want to hear it. To them, I was the villain, the one who'd shattered their perfect daughter's perfect life. I hung up, feeling more alone than ever, but also strangely resolute. I'd done what I thought was right, even if it cost me my family. At the community center, I threw myself into work, painting with the kids, helping Lily with her drawings. She seemed unaffected by the drama, her laughter a balm for my raw nerves. But late at night, when the house was quiet, doubt crept in. Had I gone too far? Had I destroyed Claire's life out of anger? Or was it justice? The line between the two felt blurry. A week later, I ran into Mark at the grocery store. His eyes were tired. His shoulders slumped. We're separating, he said. No preamble. I couldn't stay after everything. I nodded, unsure what to say. I'm sorry, Mark. I finally managed. I didn't want this for you. I know, he said, his voice soft. But I'm glad you told me. I deserve to know. He paused, then added, Lily's lucky to have you. Those words stayed with me, a small light in the darkness of my guilt. Claire, meanwhile, was spiraling. Mutual friends told me she'd moved out of their apartment, was staying with a cousin, and had stopped posting her usual curated photos online. Part of me wanted to reach out, to see if there was anything left to salvage. But every time I thought of it, I saw Lily's face, her confusion at being rejected by her aunt. That image kept me firm. One evening, as I tucked Lily into bed, she asked, Is Auntie C still mad at us? I hesitated, then said, She's mad, sweetheart. But that's her choice. We're okay. You and me. She nodded, accepting my words with the trust only a child can give. As I turned off her light, I made a promise to myself. I'd protect that trust, no matter what. Months passed, and the rift between Claire and me grew into a chasm. She didn't reach out, and I didn't either. Our parents tried to mediate, but their efforts felt half-hearted, weighted by their disappointment in me. I focused on Lily, on building a life where she felt loved and valued. We spent weekends painting, baking, exploring Park's small joys that reminded me what mattered. But the past has a way of catching up. One crisp autumn afternoon, I found Claire waiting outside my apartment. She looked different, thinner, her eyes shadowed, her usual polish gone. Lily was at school, and for that, I was grateful. I wasn't ready for her to see this version of her aunt. Emily, Claire said, her voice softer than I'd ever heard it. Can we talk? We sat in my small living room, the silence heavy between us. She spoke first, her words halting. I messed up. Not just with Lily, but everything. Mark, the wedding, my life. She looked down at her hands, twisting a ring that wasn't her wedding band. I didn't mean to hurt her. Were you? Then why did you? I asked, my voice sharp despite my attempt to stay calm. Why was it so easy to push us away? Claire's eyes filled with tears. I was scared. Scared of losing control. Of anything ruining my perfect day. I thought if I could make everything perfect, it would make up for my mistakes. She paused, swallowing hard. Like with Mark. I leaned back, my anger softening into something sadder. You mean the affair? She nodded, tears spilling over. It wasn't just once. I lied to you, Emily. I lied to everyone. And when you told the truth at the reception, I hated you for it. But you were right. I didn't deserve him. Her confession hung between us, raw and painful. I wanted to stay angry, to hold on to the hurt. But seeing her like this so broken made it harder. You hurt Lily, I said quietly. You made her feel like she wasn't enough. That's what I can't forgive. I know, Claire whispered. I'm so sorry. I want to make it right. If you'll let me. I didn't answer right away. Part of me wanted to believe her, to rebuild what we'd lost. But trust, once broken, doesn't mend easily. It's not just about me, I said finally. It's about Lily. You have to show her you mean it. Claire nodded, wiping her eyes. I will. I promise. That night, I lay awake, replaying our conversation. Claire's apology was a start, but it wasn't enough. Not yet. Healing would take time, and it would take more than words. But for the first time, I felt a glimmer of hope, not for the sisterhood we'd had, but for something new, something honest. A year later, life looked different. Claire started small, sending Lily little gifts: a coloring book, a stuffed unicorn, a handwritten note saying she was sorry. At first, Lily was hesitant, her trust bruised. But Claire persisted. She showed up to Lily's school art show, cheering louder than anyone when Lily's painting won a ribbon. She spent afternoons with us, not as the polished aunt, but as someone trying to rebuild. It wasn't perfect. There were awkward moments, old hurts that surfaced unexpectedly. But Claire was different, no humbler, more present. She and Mark were officially divorced. And while he'd moved on, dating someone new, Claire was finding her own path. She started therapy, something she'd once scoffed at, and it seemed to ground her. One evening, as we sat in my backyard watching Lily chase fireflies, Claire turned to me. Thank you, she said quietly, for telling the truth, for giving me a chance to be better. I nodded, my throat tight. You're doing the work, Claire. That's what matters. Lily ran over, her jar glowing with captured light. Look, Auntie C, she said, holding it up. Claire smiled, a real smile. And for a moment, I saw the sister I'd loved before everything fell apart. Our family wasn't what it used to be, but maybe that was okay. We were building something new, something stronger, rooted in honesty and love. I looked at Lily, her laughter filling the night, and knew I'd made the right choice, not just for her, but for all of us. The microphone moment had been a reckoning, a painful unraveling of secrets and pride. But it had also been a beginning, a chance to redefine what family meant. And as I watched Claire and Lily together, I realized that sometimes the hardest truths lead to the deepest healing.